Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome inside the Steinke Physical Education Center on the campus of Texas A&M University, Kingsville, where this evening the Javelina Sports Network presents Texas A&M-Kingsville Javelinas basketball. The second half of tonight's Tamook doubleheader, as the Javelinas will take on the Texas A&M-Commerce Lions. Thank you for tuning in this evening on Pack the House night here at the Spec. Johnny Estelle's Javelinas going for their 7th consecutive victory against an A&M-Commerce team that sits a full game above the Hogs in the conference standings. Commerce enters this game at 15-4 overall. They're 7-2 in the Lone Star Conference. They're coming off of a victory over UT Permian Basin on Saturday. They scored an 85-78 win over the Falcons. That win came just after maybe the biggest upset that we've had in the Lone Star Conference this season, when Commerce was upset on their home floor by previously winless Western New Mexico, 74-73 in overtime. But the Lions bounced back with a victory, and now they're set to take on the Javelinas this evening here in Kingsville. Commerce hosted the first matchup between these teams this season. That was, as you would expect, in Commerce. They won that game by a score of 73-68. The Javelinas were really plagued in that game by turnovers as well as an enormous free throw disparity. Javelinas turned the ball over 25 times in that game. They shot just 14 free throws. Commerce, on the other hand, took 40 shots from the foul line and made 31 of them. And in a 5-point game, obviously that makes an enormous difference. Commerce also comes in here trying to keep a 5-game win streak against the Javelinas going. Tamook going for their first win over their conference rivals since February of 2016, when they scored an 84-71 win at home. In fact, Tamook's last 2 wins in this series have both come at home, one in 2016 and one in 2014. Commerce with an all-time lead of 76-53 in the all-time series. But all that, just interesting things to talk about. This is the Javelina team that is very different from the one that Commerce beat back in December. Hogs, of course, have won 6 straight. They've become one of the top defensive teams, not just in the conference, but in the country. They average allowing less than 65 points per game, a field goal percentage of 37.8%, which is 3rd best in the nation. They also average the most blocked shots in the conference. And over the course of this 6-game win streak, 9 different Javelinas have scored in double figures, and that number is led by freshman Darius Mickens. Mickens has scored at least 10 points in 7 straight games. He's averaging 14.1 points per game over the course of those contests. And Mickens hasn't even broken into the starting lineup this season. Coach Estelle still likes to use this starting lineup that consists of Rashawn Thomas, Chauncey Thomas, Jacoby Harris, Will Shire, and Robert Stevenson. But Mickens is a part of a brigade that Estelle has brought off the bench this season and has provided this team with a lot of energy, especially over the course of the last month during this win streak that's vaulted them vaulted them up into 4th place in the LSC. They're tied with Angelo State, but ASU with a head-to-head advantage, having beaten the Javelinas earlier in the season, and that gives them a little bit of a nudge ahead of the Javelinas into the 3rd place spot in the LSC. And starters being introduced for Commerce. The number 1 player to watch for the Lions is their senior guard, Reggie Reed. Reed was picked as the Conference Player of the Year in the preseason. He was a first-team all-conference selection at the end of last season. He's averaging better than 16 points per game, leads the conference in assists per game. And he had 18 when Commerce beat Temuque back in December. Starters being introduced for the Javelinas. I'll give you the starters for Commerce first. Obviously, Reggie Reed in the starting lineup. The senior guard stands at 6 feet tall from Harlem, Georgia. Trey Conrad, a 6'6" senior forward from Kilgore, Texas. Serdan Budimir, a senior forward, stands at 6'5", 195 from Serbia. Willie Rooks, a 6'3" senior guard from Houston, Texas. And Rodney Brown, a 6'7" junior forward from Beaumont, Texas. And the starters being introduced for the Javelinas. And that's the same five. Both teams playing with energy early. Out to Shire. He'll try and answer in and out. Budimir's board gives the ball. And Harris trying to tie up the ball game. Senior from Delray, Florida, misses them both. And Reed will set up to run the offense again for Commerce. Brown turned around on Stevenson, gets it to Reed. Reed wants to drop the floater over Stevenson, no good. Jacoby Harris the rebound. Harris against Budimir, heads right inside, no good. Stevenson's putback is too strong. Out of bounds, the Hogs will keep it with a full shot clock. (3-2) ball game in the opening minutes. Less than 3 minutes gone. Thomas inside, shot no good, but a foul called. And 2 shots coming up for Rashawn Thomas. Team is starting just 2-9, but a lot of basketball left to be played. Here is Thomas. Thomas at 78% as to that total, and cans the first free throw to even it up. Thomas, a junior from Houston, hits both free throws. Javelina's in the lead. Javelina's more than okay if this game stays low scoring. Rooks, Brown trying to get it to Reed, and does. Reed trying to move on Thomas. 15 to shoot. Reed into the paint and draws the foul on Chauncey Thomas.
Foul number 10, Chauncey Thomas, his first team foul.
Hard to make that floater, and Robert Stevenson's commanding the paint. But Reed does draw the foul. Will shoot 2 free throws. And Darius Mickens quickly off the bench. Reed, a 74% free throw shooter. First one misses. Darius Mickens in for Chauncey Thomas. Reed coming off a game against UTPB where he matched his season high with 23 points and played all 40 minutes in that 7-point win. First point of the night for him. We're even at 4. And Mickens running the offense. Chauncey Thomas and Alex Mills were really the 2 guys who handled the point guard duties for this team at the beginning of the season. But Mickens has picked up some of the slack with the added playing time since then. Harris, Commerce in their zone. Out for Rashawn Thomas. He'll try it again. That one's short and arrives in the arms of Rooks. Rooks out for Budimir. Gets the defender in the air. Heads inside. Meets Robert Stevenson. Shot no good. Harris. Shire wide open. Lays it up and in. Great awareness by Harris. Reed in no hurry. Working on Mickens. Pass to Brown. Budimir up top. Rooks left wide open. Cashes it in. Commerce back in front by 1. The Lions shoot better than 35% from 3. Thomas in for Shire. Mickens dribbling past Reed. Runs over a defender, and a blocking foul will put him at the line. And that'll take us to our first media timeout at the 15:37 mark. Commerce ahead by 1. Early in the first. We'll be right back. Javelina's with Daniel Severo, Jamel Bradley, Alex Mills, and John Mouton back on the floor. And Mickens has 2 free throws to shoot, a 65% shooter. Mickens had 11 on Saturday in his team's win over Cameron, their biggest win of the season, a 26-point domination of the Aggies. And that came right after the team bounced back from a 14-point deficit against MSU Texas and won that game by 12. Mickens had 14 in that game. Hits 1 out of 2 to tie up the game. The senior against the freshman. Reed gets the defender in the air but passes it off to Rooks. Rooks against Mills will try a 3. That one's short. Gets it right back. Lost out of bounds to Commerce.
Hey, thumbs down strong. Thumbs down strong.
Severo on the floor guarding Brown. Severo coming off his best game of the year. 11 points, 8 boards against Cameron. Pass to Brown. Reed for Conrad. Rooks against Mills. Inside, Deontay Terrell. Going to get through. Mouton has a shot blocked and travels. That'll turn it over. Jarrett Rosenberg wanted a foul, but there was no call.
Let's go.
Mickens calls out the play. The Javelina setting up. Mills, the senior from Lawrence, South Carolina, has his family in attendance this weekend. Mouton pulls up at the free throw line, hesitated on that shot, rebounded by Rooks. Hosh still looking for their first lead of more than 1 point. Reed out, Conrad left wide open. Another 3 for Commerce. That's their 3rd of the night. They're 3 of 6. And no one comes to receive the inbound from Mickens. Eventually Mills grabs it, gives it back to Darius Mickens. Javelina still looking for their first 3. Shot no good, too strong. Commerce ahead, Reed wants to run. Pulls up over Mills, in and out. Out of bounds, off of, looked like that went off of Brown, but it's ball to the Lions.
Add shirt.
And Reed will inbound it. And that sure looked like it was last off of Commerce. Terrell for Rooks. Rooks free throw line jump shot. He's got 5 points. Mouton, Mickens, Bradley for Mills. Alex Mills from outside can't hit it. This Commerce team, not as deep as the Javelinas. They rely on their starters a lot, but they have quality players in their starting lineup. Reed, nothing but net. And all of a sudden, the Lions ahead by 8. Mouton into Bradley. Bradley working on his man. Turnaround jump shot off the mark. Conrad to Reed, calmly taking it up the court. Brooks gets a pick from Brown. Going to drive on Mills. Terrell inside working on Mouton. Pass to Brown. Out for Conrad. That one misses. Mickens ahead to Mouton. Javelina's trying to find a rhythm on offense. They're 2 of 11 so far. Mickens for Mouton. Inside Severo. Backing down Brown. Underneath to Bradley. And an important bucket there for the Javelinas. Reed looking for an opening, just zips past Mickens, and a foul called along with the basket. And Reed will try to complete the three-point play. Started his college career at Florida Gulf Coast. He's got 7 points, and the Lion lead is up to 9. Javelinas have had experience coming back from big deficits. They've won 3 games in which they trailed by double figures. Mouton for Mickens. Back to Mouton. Mills left side. 8 to shoot. Mickens to Mills. Mills with 2 players on him. Mickens will try the 3 off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Carson Tuttle. And the subs coming off the bench for Estelle. Terrell will try a 3. Good again. And Coach Estelle calls that timeout. 11:30 to go. And Commerce with a 21-9 lead. Largest separation of the game. And an Estelle timeout takes us to a timeout. We'll be right back.
Companies like to thank MBB for being an official corporate sponsor.
Commerce on a 17-3 run since the Javelinas had a 6-4 lead. Reggie Reed with 6 of those points. And the Lions 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. They're also out rebounding to move 12-7. And Chauncey Thomas, Rashawn Thomas, Jacoby Harris all back in for the Javelinas. Hogs trailed by 14 against MSU, by 12 on the road against UT Permian Basin. They needed to work a little bit more comeback magic here. Severo trying to power his way inside, gets the bounce. And the Hogs back within 10. I guarantee you see this lead get down to around 6. Reggie Reed will come racing off the bench. Tuttle on the wing, trying to work inside as Conrad. Tuttle comes in, left wide open is Terrell, and another 3 for the Lions. And they can't miss right now from beyond the arc. Thomas for Bradley. Bradley left wide open, he'll answer. First tray of the night for the Javelinas. Rooks. Severo comes out to help on the pick. Rooks against Thomas, and they'll get Rashawn Thomas for a foul. 3 against both teams. Reed comes in. So does Rodney Brown. Rooks and Conrad go to the bench for Commerce. Tuttle, Budimir, met by Bradley and Severo. Now gets it back out to Terrell. Tuttle, inside for Brown. Left open is Budimir. That one doesn't go right there. Missing the putback, however, was Terrell. Thomas. Bradley thought about the 3 but traveled. And Shire quickly off the bench to replace Jamel Bradley. And the luxury of this bench for Coach Estelle is when he feels he needs to take a guy out, send him to the bench. He has no shortage of players in his arsenal that he feels can take that guy's place. Budimir gives it to Tuttle. Halfway through the shot clock. Left side, Terrell. Inside for Brown. Brown for Terrell. 7 to shoot. Harris with a hand in his face. Ball out of bounds. Saved ahead by Thomas. Thomas Harris draws the foul on Reggie Reed. And they count the basket.
Number 3, Rashawn Thomas. Check that number 5, Cody Harris.
And here's Harris to try and complete the 3-point play. After the bucket awarded from goaltending. Harris can't get the roll on the free throw. He's 0 for 3 from the charity stripe. That's been a bugaboo for the Hogs multiple times this season. It's just leaving points out there via missed free throws. Reed for Budimir, lays it up and in. Javelinas are just 3 of 7 on free throws so far tonight. Stevenson for Jacoby Harris. Harris will try a 3, in and out. Shire can't get the rebound. Stevenson had it, but instead it was grabbed by Terrell. Reed will pull up. That one lands right in the arms of Robert Stevenson. Thomas. Pass trying to get to Rashawn Thomas was deflected. Tuttle. And a frustrated Johnny Estelle whips off the jacket. Terrell trying to behind the back pass it to Brown. Just ended up being out of bounds off of the Javelinas. And Conrad in along with Rooks back in the game for the Lions. Rooks for Budimir. Back to Rooks. Left open. Cans another 3. Lions now 6 of 13 from beyond the arc. They're shooting 45% overall. Shire for Chauncey Thomas. He'll put up a 3. In and out. Commerce has been right on with those threes for the Javelinas. That's just about the third one they've had go in and out. Reed. Shot no good. Brown there for the rebound. Putback doesn't go, but he'll shoot 2 free throws. And that foul goes against Chauncey Thomas. That's 2 on him. 7:30 to go. Commerce now with a 13-point lead, the largest of the night. And we'll take a break. This is Javelina men's basketball.
Coming up at halftime, we're going to have another round of the Fan Challenge. Your chance to win some easy cash.
A&M-Commerce with a 29-16 lead. 7.5 minutes to play in the first half. And the Lions shooting the lights out here at the Spec so far in this game. Also out-rebounded the Javelinas 17-10. The Hogs have not been out-rebounded in any of their previous 6 games, but the Lions dominant on the glass through the first 12.5 minutes. And 2 free throws coming for Rodney Brown. 61% foul shooter. First one rims out. And I mentioned at the beginning of this game how this was packed the house night, how this is probably the best crowd we've had all year at the Spec for a Javelina basketball game. As Brown hits the second one, but if the other team comes out and shoots as well as Commerce is shooting and takes the crowd out of it, it doesn't really matter how many people you have here. It all just sounds like one big, quiet gym. Lions ahead by 14. Mickens for Harris. 6 to shoot. Thomas will try the 3. Good. Boy, did the Javelinas need that. Mentioned the largest comeback for Temuque this season was 14, and that was here against MSU Texas, but MSU Texas and Commerce are 2 very different ball clubs. There's nobody like Reggie Reed on MSU Texas. Rooks pulls up for the jump shot. Also, MSU Texas wasn't shooting the ball like that. 10 points already for Willie Rooks. Mickens trying to find an open man, gets it to Harris, asking for it inside is Stevenson. Up top, Shire will try a tray. Nothing but net. 5 points for Will Shire. Javelinas need a stop and a bucket to cut up to single figures. Easier said than done. Rooks for Brown. Back to Rooks. Brown sets the pick. Pulls up for the jump shot. Willie Rooks is feeling it right now. 12 points for the senior from Houston. Thomas, back to Shire. Harris. Stevenson setting the pick. A double team then takes care of Mickens. Has to give it up to Harris. 9 to shoot. Commerce forcing the Javelinas to really work hard to try and get decent shots. Harris can't get the layup. Shire goes right back up and draws the foul. And that one goes against Budimir. That's 2 on him. Commerce has 5. And here's Shire to try to 80% this season. Shire, one of 2 freshmen who have seen action this season for Johnny Estelle. Obviously the other is Darius Mickens. John Mouton comes in for Harris. Mouton got a talking to from Coach Johnny Estelle after coming off the floor the first time. Shire looking for the second of 2. The high arcing free throw. Just off the mark. Reed for Conrad. Brown out for Rooks. Rooks will step back and try a 3. And I believe they'll get Conrad for a foul. And Conrad not happy with the call for knocking another player to the ground. Not sure what there is to gripe about, but that's 2 on Conrad and 6 against Commerce with 5:03 to go. Brooks with 12 points for the Lions. For the Javelinas, Will Shire has 6. So we're trying to get this down to single figures. Shire. Mickens heads inside, misses the layup. Stevenson gets it back, goes right back up and uses the glass to perfection. Brooks, Brown, Conrad. Out to Rell. Guarded well by Mouton. Stevenson on Conrad. If Conrad can score from there against Stevenson, he deserves a medal. Reed has underneath. Good foul by Rashawn Thomas.
Number 3, Rashawn Thomas.
That's 2 on him. That's the 5th against the Javelinas. 2 free throws for Rodney Brown. We're at the 4:20 mark in the first half. Alex Mills comes in the game. Vernon Lowndes is in for the first time. He comes in for Trey Conrad. Brown's second trip to the free throw line. And he's 3 of 4. And Commerce's lead back to 11. Commerce with the press on right now. Shire and Mills. The freshman Shire pass from Mouton deflected. Mouton gets it. Tries to go inside, lost it. Gets it back. Tries to get to Mickens, but the ball ends up rubbing the arms of Rooks. And a frustrated Mickens knows he just probably tried to do a little bit too much right there. And with 4:03 to go, a timeout. And we'll take a break. We'll be right back on the Javelina Sports Network. Commerce ball with an 11-point lead and 4 minutes to play in the first half. And the Lions shooting 48%, and that is a lot better than the 37.8% the Hawks have allowed their opponents to shoot this season. Also 7 of 15 from 3, and Smook just 4 of 9 from the free throw line. And got to give credit to the Lions. They have outplayed the Javelinas through the first 16 minutes of this game. The good news, obviously, is there's plenty of basketball left. Javelinas looking to try and get something started before we hit halftime. Reed for Lowndes. Rooks back to Lowndes. Mickens going for the steal against Reed. Reed gets two defenders in the air. Underneath to Lowndes. Pass stolen by Mickens. Mickens for Mills. And now Mickens will try and set up the offense. Mickens, the floater, hits it perfectly. 3 points for Darius Mickens. Javelina's having trouble finding the stops after the baskets. Rooks pulls off of Mills. That one's short. Stevenson the rebound. D'd up quickly by Rooks. Mickens wants to go inside off the window for a deuce. 5 points for the freshman. And if Darius Mickens gets hot, he can start a run all by himself. Javelina's within 7. Coach Estelle wants the crowd to get loud. Lowndes over Shire. That one's no good. Stevenson tips it to Mouton. Mickens quickly defensed by Terrell, who draws a foul. And that'll be a 1-and-1. That's the first foul against Terrell. And Jamel Bradley coming in for Will Shire. Mickens 28 of 43 from the charity stripe this season coming into today. Hit 1 of 2 his first time up and cans the first one. Mickens trying to bring the Javelinas within 5. He hits them both. 8-2 run for the Javelinas. Reed trapped in the backcourt, but easily gets a pass off to Tuttle. 2.5 to go before halftime. Mills on Tuttle. Conrad working on the sophomore Bradley, the former Corpus Christi Islander. Reed goes right inside. Shot no good. That one just rimmed out. The foul will put him at the free throw line. That one goes against Mickens. That's one on him. And a discussion between Estelle and Stevenson. Reed to shoot 2. 74% on the season. Reed already with 8 points in this game. Or check that, make that 7. Trying to make it 8, trying to make his team's lead a 6-point lead. He does so. Mickens will bring it up. Mickens with 7 points off the bench. Met by a pair of Lions, lost it out of bounds. Back to Commerce. Coach Estelle wants his team to reverse the basketball. Probably don't need to tell you, probably heard it loud and clear. Tuttle ahead to Reed. Reed's going to go right in over Stevenson, no good. Stevenson the rebound. Ahead to Mickens. Mickens with Reed behind him. Going to head right in, jumper short. Mickens maybe a little too anxious to put that shot up.
Heads out! Heads out!
Reed trying to get it over Stevenson, no good. Bradley to Mickens. To trying to run again. Mickens for Mills. And a foul against Tuttle. And a 1-and-1 for Alex Mills.
First personal foul, 18th foul for the Lions. Free throw line,
And here is Mills. 11 points against MSU Texas over the weekend, 9, all of which consisted of 3 big threes against Cameron. And a miss on the front end of that 1-and-1. We'll give Commerce possession back. Reed for Conrad. Conrad wants to work on Bradley. Terrell inside. Reed against Mickens. Tuttle. 5 to shoot. Tuttle. 3 no good. Bradley to Mickens. Into the corner, Mouton for 3. And the Hogs all of a sudden within 3 points. Reed and the Lions trying to blunt this momentum. Javelinas were down 14, now cut it to 3. Brown out for Reed. 10 to shoot, and they're going to get a foul on Darius Mickens, and that's going to allow Commerce to hold for the last shot. I'll actually check that. I believe it'll be a 1-and-1.
Second personal foul, 17 foul for the Javelinas. Lions shooting 1-and-1.
And Conrad hits the first one. Rooks comes in for Tuttle. So this will ensure that Commerce will at least go to the half with the lead. Conrad, 2nd and 2, rims out. So it's a 4-point game. Stevenson almost got knocked out of bounds, but managed to get rid of it. And Mickens picks it up. Javelinas looking to hold for the last shot. 8 to shoot. Estelle saying go. Clock's down to 5. Mickens. Off the window for the bucket as time expires. And the Javelinas, who were down by as many as 14 in the first half, head to the locker room trailing by just 2. And I think they just called the Commerce. They just called the Commerce coach for a technical. And the official and the coach discussing it right in front of me. And the coach and the referee with a discussion. The referee just basically saying, hey, you got a technical, go to the locker room. Javelinas ended the half scoring 20 of the last 28 points to get from down 14 to within 2. And we'll take a break. We'll be right back. We'll go over all the halftime stats. This is Javelina men's basketball. A 20-8 run for the Javelinas to close out the half has brought them from down 14 to within 2. They used the last 7.5 minutes of the first half to whittle that deficit down. 8 of those points were provided by Darius Mickens. And Mickens with 9 points to lead the Javelinas so far in this game. Also, Rob Stevenson has 6 rebounds to his credit, including a pair on the offensive end and a blocked shot. Willie Rooks leading all players with 12 points, but the Javelinas with a first half that looked like it was going in one direction, with Commerce racing out to a big lead, and then the Hogs come back and nearly tie it before the break. Javelinas with a shooting percentage of 46.4% compared to Commerce's 12 of 30. The Lions, however, 7 of 17 from 3, but Tamuk is up to 36%. They're 4 of 11 free throws. Not great for either team. Commerce is 7 of 11. The Javelinas are 6 of 12. Rebounds, the Hogs were down 17 to 11 in rebounds at one point. They're within 1, 20 to 19 in that stat. And Tamuk, and a pretty turnover-free first half, 4 turnovers to 2. Javelinas with the higher number in that statistic. And Commerce just came out in this first half and completely shot the lights out with a lot of confidence in the early going, and then enabled them to really run out to that lead. And for them, it almost seemed like it was business as usual when they extended their lead to double figures. But the Javelinas managed to come back. A big run sparked by Darius Mickens. And we have a 2-point game. I mentioned the Javelinas have been adept at coming back. They've won 3 games in which they've trailed by double figures this season. And this is a completely different animal now with Commerce in the building, a really good Commerce team, second place in the LSC. But between these teams, I would expect the second half to be pretty evenly played. And one of the biggest things for the Javelinas is now cutting this deficit down to 2. You get the crowd back into this game. And now with the Hogs coming out after the technical against Commerce and getting to shoot 2 free throws, getting free throws at the beginning of the half, that'll give the Javelinas an opportunity to start the half with a little bit of momentum. And for them, obviously a huge part of the second half will be trying to score points and gain some momentum early and get the crowd into the basketball game and put Commerce in a situation where they feel like they're at a disadvantage, where the energy in the game is in Tamuk's favor. We're going to take a quick break here on the Halftime Show. We'll be right back. We'll go around the Lone Star Conference. Plenty of basketball going on around the LSC tonight. We'll give you a look at the other 4 games in the LSC, all when we return. This is the Javelina Sports Network. 4 other games going on around the Lone Star Conference tonight, in addition to the Javelinas against the Lions. Temuco with a trailing 38-36 as we are at the half here at the Spec. Give you a look around the LSC. Two teams that were here recently, Eastern New Mexico and Cameron, playing in Lawton, Oklahoma. Cameron with a trailing 43-42 at the half in that game. West Texas ahead of MSU, Texas 45-30, the end of one half in Wichita Falls. UT Permian Basin visiting Western New Mexico and leading that one 89-80 with 3.5 minutes to go in the second half. And lastly, the Tarleton Texans with a 30-26 lead against Angelo State. And that's a big score for the Javelinas because the Hogs, as I mentioned, even with Angelo right now in the LSC standings at 6-3, but Angelo with a small advantage because of a head-to-head victory. And Tarleton obviously will be here on Saturday. The Tarleton team receiving votes nationally. They are the team the Hogs will face on Throwback Night here on Saturday. And Tarleton is a game behind the Javelinas and the Rams. So the Tarleton-Angelo game, a game with a lot of implications, even with a lot of games left to play this season for the Javelinas. And obviously if Temuco wins, they could care less what else happens in the Lone Star Conference. But if the Hogs do win, whoever wins that game, Temuco can kind of fist pump a little bit. If it's Tarleton, that gives them a little breathing room between them and the number 5 team, which is a big difference because which is a big difference in the standings between 4 and 5, and obviously between 3 and 4. If Angelo loses, then Temuco moves up to the number 3 spot if the Javelinas win. But obviously all predicated on whether or not the Javelinas can complete this comeback against Commerce tonight. Javelinas within 2 at 38-36. And probably maybe the best solace the Javelinas can take heading into the second half is that it'd be hard to expect Commerce to shoot in the beginning of the half as well as they shot in the beginning of the first half to begin this game. But obviously that remains to be seen. We'll take one more break. We'll be right back. The second half of basketball here at the Spec. Just moments away from starting. Don't go away. Thank you, Leo. Both teams just about finishing their warm-ups as we prepare to start the second half of basketball here at the Spec in a 2-point game. And the Hogs get to begin this half at the free throw line after the technical foul was called against Commerce. And I would expect the same 5 that started the game to be on the floor for both teams. For the Javelinas, that would be Thomas, Harris, Rashawn Thomas, Jacoby Harris, Chauncey Thomas, Will Shire, and Robert Stevenson. For Commerce, that would be Reed, Conroy, Budimir, Rooks, and Brown.
And gentlemen, before we start the second half, the Javelinas will shoot 2 free throws for a technical foul called at the end of the first half.
And the Javelinas will send Rashawn Thomas out to try these 2 free throws.
For the Hawks, number 3, Rashawn Thomas.
And first one up and good. This is Thomas' second trip to the free throw line. And he is 4 of 4. 7 points for him. And that 14-point deficit is gone. Commerce will begin the first half with the ball because of the possession arrow. And at the risk of using a cliche, right back where we started. Conrad in for Reed against Thomas, who's playing with 2 fouls. Commerce play with a ton of confidence to begin this game. I'd be surprised if their mentality was any different right here. Conrad over Shire. No good. Stevenson the rebound. Avoids a steal attempt from Budimir. Chauncey Thomas. Thomas with a pick from Stevenson. Wants to go inside. Almost traveled. 14 to shoot. Harris inside of Conrad. Had the ball knocked away and stolen by Commerce. Conrad wants to run. And now we'll slow it down and give it back to Reed to set everything up. Rooks into the corner for Budimir. Brown out top to Reed. Commerce with 12 to shoot. Reed trying to go against Stevenson out. Budimir wide open, way too long. Reed, though, comes in for the rebound. Lost out of bounds to the Lions with 4 to shoot. And Reed will inbound it. Both teams trying to get set up. Inside Conrad. Underneath. Shot good and a foul. Coach is still not happy with Chauncey Thomas. And specifically his inability to pick up the rebound after that missed shot. And Reed, who's just about the smallest guy on the court, is the one who charged in to get that board that allowed Commerce to keep possession. And the Lions back up by 3. 6 points for Brown. Commerce with the press on. Thomas. Out for Rashawn Thomas, trying to even it up. No good. Stevenson tips the rebound out to Chauncey Thomas, and the Javelinas will restart. Chauncey and Rashawn Thomas looked like they were drawing up a play in the dirt. Harris in for the layup, almost like he didn't realize how wide open he was. Harris wanted a foul. Loose ball, almost stolen by Harris, out of bounds to Commerce. And Reed with 17 to shoot gets the inbound. Reed to Conrad. Rooks trying to add to his game high total. Swishes a jumper. Rashawn Thomas in the corner. Chauncey Thomas. Shire asking for it inside. Now Thomas calling for a pick. Gives it to Stevenson. And a foul on the inside against Shire. And Commerce has started this half in pretty similar fashion to the way they started the first half. Just outplaying the Javelinas. Deontay Terrell comes in.
Once again, Adam Tillman, if you're in here, please come down to the announcer's table. We've got your ID.
And the officials seem to be asking whether or not they saw a flagrant one. It was Shire against Reed on the inside that led to the foul call. And Coach Estelle was more than a little bit unhappy with the call. It sounded like the official who came over to the scores table was discussing whether or not they could look at that to see if it was a flagrant one. I don't know in what world they would call that a flagrant foul on Will Shire. It looked like Reed initiated the contact with him. But as it is, Lions leading by 5 and have outscored the Javelinas 5-2 in this. The only points that Tamuk has gotten in the first 2 minutes and 19 seconds came on those first 2 technical free throws by Rashawn Thomas. And the officials still looking at the replay system and trying to determine if the proper call was made. The foul called against Shire was his first. And there was no flagrant foul called. It will simply be Commerce ball. And that momentum the Javelinas had coming out of the locker room has been dissipated significantly. Rooks back to Reed. Reed inside to Rooks, lost it for a second, brings it back out to Conrad against Stevenson for a bucket. No bucket, but he does draw the foul. And that's one on Stevenson. And 2 shots for Trey Conrad. Conrad's first to 2 is good.
Make him miss, 22.
Conrad looking for 10 plus points for the 13th time this season. He has 7 right now. He had 16 in his team's Saturday victory. Thomas across half court for Mickens. Underneath Stevenson for the layup. 4 points for the senior from Houston. Reed against Mickens. Shows you how much faith Johnny Estelle has in his freshman, letting him guard the preseason conference player of the year. Reed over Shire for 2. Mickens, Shire to Harris. Harris on a dribble through a crowd, lost the ball. Pass in the corner for Rooks. Inside to Conrad. Out to Reed, 14 to shoot. Reed right past Shire. Shot over Stevenson, no good. Mickens for Harris. Into the corner for Thomas. Thomas with a terrible pass. Reed with a 2-on-1 to Rooks. Back to Reggie Reed. Shot no good. And they get Stevenson for hitting the backboard. The 2 points count. 12 now for Reggie Reed, and Commerce ahead by 9. And they're on a 9-2 run.
Come on, Black. Back up. You're good, back up.
Make it to the Hawks, trying to find some traction in the second half. Shire. Thomas. Pulls up at the free throw line. That one's no good. Shire's putback comes in handy.
Got immediate coming. Come on, one possession.
You know, if the Hawks are going to put together a run to race the deficit, it's got to start on defense. This defense has to live up to its reputation and get stops. A 3 for Conrad. He has 10 points. And the Lion lead is back to double figures. Thomas will try and answer. Nothing but net on that shot. He's got 10. And with 15:07 to play, Javelina's within 7. Timeout called by Estelle takes us to immediate timeout. We'll be right back. You're watching Javelina men's basketball.
I'm taking it.
Three by Rashawn Thomas has him at 10 points. And he's hit that plateau 5 times in his last 7 games. Jamel Bradley and Daniel Severo back on the court. A breather for Robert Stevenson. Reed almost lost his footing. Chumuk wanted to travel, but there was no call. Tuttle. Rooks. Still with a game high 14. Out to Tuttle. Terrell travels and gives the ball to the Javelina. It's just the 3rd turnover of the night for Commerce. And that'll take us to immediate timeout. So the score is still the same, 52-45, 14:48 to play. And for Commerce, this Javelina team averages better than 8 steals per game. They have just 1 tonight. But Commerce, maybe the most efficient team in the conference, they give the ball up just 12 times per game, and they're playing like that right now. That, as I mentioned, just their 3rd turnover this evening. And the Javelinas have a slight edge in rebounds, 23-22, but so many times putting together a run, a big part of that is getting steals, forcing turnovers, forcing the opponent into mistakes, and using that usually to fuel your fast break. But with Commerce not giving the Javelinas opportunities, it just makes it that much tougher for this team to try and string together successful possessions on offense. Neither team really with anybody in foul trouble. More than 5 minutes gone in the second half. Rashawn Thomas, Chauncey Thomas, Darius Mickens with 2 for Tanu, Conrad and Budimir with 2 for Commerce. So neither coach really has to worry about fouls being an issue. After the travel, Bradley inbounds it to Mickens. We're trying to get this back to a 2-possession game. Mickens for Mouton. Mouton with a little spin move, using the glass a little bit too much. Jump ball, possession arrow will keep it in the hands of the blue and gold. Mickens. Thomas, left open, takes advantage. 13 for Rashawn Thomas. We've got a 4-point game. Crowd trying to get back into it here at the Spec. Rooks trying to silence him. From the free throw line, in and out, rebounded by Thomas. A couple players get tangled up in the back court. Thomas. Severo's wide open. Mickens. In and out. It was a good job by Temuka on offense, finding the open player, realizing that Carson Tuttle had been caught in the back court. And Temuka almost had kind of a power play. Reed. That layup won't go. Taking away Mouton. And to Rashawn Thomas. Trying to draw the contact instead. He'll just lay it up and in. There's a player for Commerce again down in the backcourt. I think it's Reggie Reed. Rashawn Thomas has 15 points. That is now a game high. And Reed down. Certainly hope he's okay. It looked like coming down on the replay after the layup that he might have twisted an ankle. And he went right down. And I would bet any amount of money that Reggie Reed will be back in this game in no time. And I'm not trying to minimize his injury, but a player as good as him, he's going to want to get right back in this basketball game. Commerce already playing without their top forward, Tyree Robinson. Robinson was suspended a couple of weeks ago after an altercation at Eastern New Mexico. And Commerce can ill afford to lose Reggie Reed. And a polite applause for Reed as he's helped to the bench. And so Budimir, Tuttle, Conrad, Terrell, and Willie Rooks are back on the floor for the Lions. 13:37 to go. Tuttle, to avoid the trap in the back court, head to Budimir. Conrad heading straight for the bucket. And an air ball layup, but the Javelinas were headed back up court so fast, no one grabbed the rebound. And Conrad draws a foul. I think all the Javelinas were ready to run the fast break, and no one was ready to start the fast break. And Conrad was just able to grab the basketball. And this Javelina crowd has reveled in nothing more than missed free throws by Commerce tonight. As Conrad, a 74% foul shooter, misses the first one. He missed them both. Bradley the rebound. Temuka's last lead in this game came at the 15:59 mark of the first half. That was 6-4. Mouton for Mickens. Back to Rashawn Thomas. Severo left wide open. Mickens can't tip it in. Out of bounds off of the Lions with a fresh shot clock. The Javelinas will restart this possession. Rashawn Thomas for the lead. No good. Severo tips it out. And Thomas will bring it back up. Another opportunity for the Hogs. Here's Mickens. Thomas for Mouton. Mouton inside, runs over the defender, and it's an offensive foul. And that's the first on John Mouton. That's the fifth against the Hogs. Commerce has committed just one foul in this half. Tuttle to Terrell. Commerce has done a great job breaking some of those backcourt traps. And a layup for Terrell. Javelina's missed a chance to tie or take the lead. Multiple opportunities on the last possession. Commerce responds immediately with a layup. Mouton for Bradley. Mouton looking for help to Mickens, who somehow grabs it out of a crowd. Still has it with 8 to shoot. Gives it to Mouton. Shot clock at 5. Mouton for 3! 6 points for John Mouton. It's a 1-point game. No one picks up Tuttle. Now Thomas finally arrives to defend him. Brooks. Covers the leading scorer, lost it, gets it back. Pass to Conrad, no good. Mouton gets fouled. Fouled by Terrell. And boy, has this crowd joined the fray at the Spec. 11:37 to go. It's a 1-point game. Hogs with the ball. Chance to take the lead for the first time since early in the first half. We'll be right back at the Javelina Sports Network. 1-point game. A chant of "Let's go Hoggies" here at the Spec as the Javelinas with the basketball looking to take the lead. And Darius Mickens will set it up. Thomas. Mouton, he'll try another three. Can't hit that one. Rebound tipped around. It's grabbed by Commerce. Brooks trying to reestablish momentum for his team. He's got 14 points. Tuttle. Budimir. Underneath. And they'll get the Hogs for a foul underneath. That'll be Mickens' third.
His third personal foul, 16 fouls.
Shot clock put back at 20. And Chauncey Thomas in for Mickens.
Chauncey Thomas.
Brooks. Layup no good, but he draws the foul. That one is called against Jamel Bradley.
His second personal foul, seventh team foul on the Hoggies.
And Rooks to try 2 free throws. And ice water in the veins for Willie Rooks. That's his first free throw attempt of the night. He's got 14 points. Had 27 against Eastern New Mexico back on January 19th. That free throw managed to find its way through. The Commerce lead is 3. Hogs still looking for that first lead
Back up.
since early in the first half. Bradley. Thomas. For the bucket and the foul. And Carson Tuttle, to paraphrase, says that is not a foul. And Chauncey Thomas trying to tie up this game with the 3-point play.
Alex Mills at the free throw line. Chauncey Thomas shooting 1 shot.
Thomas can't tie the game. Hogs still trail by 1. Terrell runs over Mouton. Shot no good. And they get another foul against Bradley. The scoreboard says that's the 8th team foul against the Hogs. The referees are having, looks like they're going to have Commerce inbound it. And now it will be a 1-and-1 for Terrell. First one up and good from Terrell. Apparently this is a 2-shot foul after Bradley picked up his 3rd. And we have a 2-point game. Chauncey Thomas to run the offense again. To Alex Mills. Foul against Commerce. That'll be the 3rd on Conrad. Obviously no free throws. Thomas to Shire for the tie. No! Ball loose. Mouton fighting for it. Grabbed by Severo, who is fouled. And that was all John Mouton, a hungry basketball player, would not let Commerce control that possession. And now here's Severo for 2. And Severo to try a pair. And nothing but net. Still no Reggie Reed for Commerce. But as this game gets closer and closer to crunch time, we'll see if he stays on the bench. Severo trying to tie it. This place quiet as a library as Severo cans 2 free throws. We're even at 57. Rooks. Conrad back to Willie Rooks. Budimir to Rooks. The corner. Conrad way off with a 3. It's batted out of bounds by Severo, who frustratedly slaps his hand against his side. 7 to shoot. And Conrad enjoying a little bit of razzing from the crowd. It gives everyone a smile as some of the fans yell air ball at him. Brown. Here's Tuttle against Mills. He'll put up a 3. That one's good. And if you're a Lion fan, not a bad time for Carson Tuttle's first 3 points of the game. And Commerce simply is not, in the midst of the runs the Hawks have put together to tie this game, Commerce has not wilted under the pressure, even with the crowd in this game. They've had an answer every time the Javelinas have made this a close game or tied it up. And Tuttle again right there with a huge three. Lions are 9 of 23 from beyond the arc. Mook is shooting a little bit better, 44% to 40%. Rebounds just about even. Once again, Commerce with an edge in turnovers, 9 to 4. Chauncey Thomas for Mouton. Into Shire. Says pass to Severo, who is fouled by Conrad. That's his fourth. Commerce now has committed 6 fouls. Dante Terrell is in. Harris and Rashawn Thomas come back in the basketball game. And Conrad, whose spirits never seem to get down, regardless of what happens, heads off the court. Stevenson in for Severo.
Carson, don't let him go this way. Willie, help! Get up here, Carson, beat him!
And Tamook with its 5 starters back on the floor. Thomas to Shire.
Shrink it! Shrink it!
Thomas. Can't hit the shot.
Five!
And Rooks will bring it up. Terrell. Brown stepped on the baseline to turn it over.
You got 3. Match up! Back up!
9:05 to go in this game. Still a lot of basketball left. That's just in regulation. Thomas. Rashawn Thomas leading the Javelinas with 15 points. Chauncey Thomas. Out to Jacoby Harris. Harris misses the running jumper. Rooks almost traveled, but maintains possession.
Hey, 0-0!
Budimir inside over Shire. Stevenson lost it. And a tip in by Brown. Consecutive offensive rebounds makes the Javelinas pay.
Shrink it! Drive!
Thomas to Stevenson for Harris.
Stay there, Deontay!
Shire. Back to Jacoby Harris. Heading inside, draws the foul. That'll be on Terrell. That'll be his third. I'll check that. That's Budimir. That is his third.
His third personal foul, 17 fouls.
2 shots coming up. And Coach Estelle and Robert Stevenson, an animated discussion as Stevenson heads back down to the other end. Estelle frustrated with Stevenson's inability to come up with the rebound on that last play. Harris's first one in and out.
Hey! Box!
In the game for the Hawks.
And John Mouton preparing to sub in. And the Javelinas 10 of 19 from the charity stripe. Jacoby Harris is 0 for 5 on free throws. Tuttle to Brown, who lost it. Loose ball to Rashawn Thomas. Thomas trying to run the fast break. For Harris, can't get the dunk to go. Out of bounds to the Javelinas. And we'll take a media timeout, 62 to 57 in favor of Commerce. 7:39 to go. It'll be hog ball when we come back. Javelina's trailing by 5, 7:39 to go in regulation. And this Commerce team right now, without its best player, still maintaining a lead over the Hogs. Shire inbounds it to Chauncey Thomas. Rashawn Thomas looking to add to his total of 15 points. John Mouton has a pair of threes this evening. Thomas to Shire. To Mouton. Moving inside, trying to use the glass, can't do it. Shire the rebound. Out for Thomas. Heading inside for a bucket. Can't get the bucket to go, but does draw the foul. And the good news for Rodney Brown, that's just his first foul. The bad news for Commerce, that's their 8th. Only have one more left in the 1-and-1 range. Rashawn Thomas for 2 free throws. First one short. That's the first missed free throw for Thomas, and now 5 attempts tonight. Thomas now with 16. He had 22 against Western New Mexico. That's the most that a Tumilk player has scored this season. Tuttle lost it, got it back. And a timeout called by Commerce with 7:02 to play. And that's Commerce's last 30-second timeout. They have just one timeout remaining with 7:02 to play. And Commerce scored 5 straight points after Daniel Severo tied the game at 57 with 2 free throws. And the Hogs also tied the game right at the beginning of the half on 2 technical free throws at 38. And after that, Commerce went off on an 11-2 run. Tuttle guarded by Rashawn Thomas. Budimir will try a long 3, no good. Rebounded by Chauncey Thomas. Rashawn Thomas to make it a 1-point game. Good again. 19 for Rashawn Thomas. Terrell against Mouton. Back out to Tuttle with 18 to shoot. Budimir gets the shot to go over Stevenson.
Shrink it! Shrink it!
Thomas. Mouton. Shire to Chauncey Thomas. Shot clock halfway through. Inside to Stevenson. Shire left wide open off the mark. Brooks. A corner 3 for Budimir. An enormous 3 for Commerce. Their lead is up to 6.
Back up, Carson! Back up!
5.5 to play. Javelina's going to have to break this lock that's keeping Commerce in the lead. Darius Mickens in the game for Shire. Thomas to Mouton, Mickens for Thomas. Mickens stepped on the baseline to turn it over. These are mistakes the Javelinas simply cannot have right now. 10th turnover of the night. Normally that would actually be a pretty good number, but Hogs are -4 in that stat. Tuttle lost it to Thomas, and Tuttle immediately fouled him. That's his third. And here's a 1-and-1 for Chauncey Thomas.
Chauncey Thomas at the leader line, sitting 1-and-1 for the Huskies.
Hey, 1-and-1! Hey, block!
This is the final 1-and-1. And the Javelinas will have to shoot tonight. And Budimir just taking a second to tie his shoe. And now we're finally ready to go. Here is Thomas, 78%. Thomas missing the front end, and quite honestly, that's a mistake you cannot make right now. And that's one of the reasons why the Habs are down by 6. Just 11 of 22 from the free throw line. And Rooks with 2 more. And this game just slowly slipping away from the Javelinas. Thomas with a pass really to no one. Mouton manages to be in the right place at the right time to lay it up and in. And a travel gives it back to the Javelinas. A much needed turnover.
Hey, Willie! Steal! Come on, Serge!
Mickens. Mouton for the jumper. That's well short. Rashawn Thomas gets the rebound. The ball is loose. It's grabbed by Budimir. Ahead to Conrad. Conrad lost it, but Commerce maintains it. Tuttle goes right to the hoop, and the layup by Brown. 10 points for him. Thomas inside for the bucket, and a much-needed foul.
Foul number 24, Rodney Brown. His third personal foul, team foul. Takes us to our final.
Third foul on Rodney Brown. We'll take one more timeout. 3:44 to go. Javelinas trailing by 6. We'll be right back. Chauncey Thomas with the free throw line, looking to complete a 3-point play between Chauncey Thomas and Jacoby Harris. Those two players are 0 for 7 from the charity stripe. Javelinas have missed 11 free throws. Commerce isn't much better, 13 of 20. For the Javelinas, those have been critical misses, especially when you look at a 6-point difference. You don't have to be too smart to do the math on that. And Thomas completes the 3-point play. Hogs within 5. Tuttle gets the inbound, being guarded by Thomas. Terrell. 14 to shoot. Here is Rooks. He's been the man who's had the stroke tonight. I don't know how they call the foul on Mouton when Rooks pushed him. And Mouton never initiated the contact. But the foul goes against him, and this will be a 1-and-1. And Rooks to try the 1-and-1. For the senior guard, Willie Rooks, and make it 19.
Draw it, shrink it!
Rooks 4 of 4 from the charity stripe tonight. Mickens to Rashawn Thomas, closing in on 3 minutes to play. Chauncey Thomas to Rashawn Thomas, 8 to shoot. Mickens has it blocked.
Hey! 3 out, dribble hand off to the flat.
Tuttle. Conrad to Terrell, 10 to shoot. Rooks wants it back. 7 on the shot clock. Terrell over Mickens for 2. Rebound tipped and recovered by Commerce. And that's probably a dagger against the Javelinas with 2:20 to play. 11th offensive rebound of the night for Commerce. Rooks. Release shot no good, but the loose ball again goes to the Lions. A steal by Mouton, and he misses the layup. And John Mouton probably wants to crawl in a hole and disappear right now. Two free throws here for Conrad. And Conrad has 11. The second missed free throw keeps this an 8-point game as Mickens brings it up. But that was a 3-point swing the Javelinas simply really could not allow to happen.
Shrink it! Shrink it! God damn it!
Mickens inside, misses the jam, draws the foul. And you can see it in John Mouton's eyes. He's still thinking about that missed layup. 2 shots, of course, for Mickens. Commerce over the limit. 1:43 to play. Mickens managed to hit the second of 2.
Timeout, Javelina.
And the Hogs call a timeout. 103 seconds remaining. And what is a 7-point game? Javelinas had this game tied up at 57 when Daniel Severo hit 2 free throws. But since then, Commerce has simply made the plays. The Lions have made the plays in crunch time that the Javelinas made in their previous 6 games. And this is a Commerce team that has played without Reggie Reed for most of the second half. Reed, arguably the best player in the Lone Star Conference. And Commerce has played as if they barely noticed he was gone. Conrad running the baseline. Pass to Budimir. Company's trying for the trap and the steal. Rooks in the front court, stolen by the Javelinas. Bradley gives it to Mickens. Rashad Thomas has needed. No good. And a foul against Jamel Bradley. And 2 shots coming up for Commerce. And 2 shots for Budimir with under 90 seconds to play. Budimir missing the first free throw. And Commerce's lead is back up to 8 points as Rodney Brown comes back in. Thomas into the front court. Underneath for Rashawn Thomas, who lays it up and in. That puts him over 20. Inbound stolen by Chauncey Thomas. Rashawn Thomas thought about the 3. Tries to go back inside again and draws the foul. 1:06 to play. 2 shots for Rashawn Thomas. He can make this a 4-point game. That was the 5th against Trey Conrad. Really surprised Thomas didn't just step back and shoot the 3. He's 4 and 9. He's been on fire from back there. But 2 more crucial free throws for the Javelinas.
Hey, Serge, same play.
Mentioned they only took 14 free throws the first time these 2 teams met. The Hogs have not had an issue getting to the line. As Thomas makes the first one, that's the 26th free throw attempt of the night for the Hogs. But they've only made 14. Thomas has matched his season high with 22. Four-point game. Terrell inbounds it to Rooks. Mickens trying to run with Rooks. Rooks now caught in the double. Commerce only has 1 timeout, and they have to take it with 59.1 seconds to play. And Estelle gets right in the face of Jamel Bradley as the teams go to the bench. And here is where the rubber meets the road with 59.1 seconds to go in a 4-point game. Hogs going to try their best not to foul here. Obviously, they want to stop. The best free throw shooters on this Commerce team are Budimir, who shoots at 80%, and Terrell, who's at 89. Conrad shoots at 74. I should say Dante Terrell is at 89. Rodney Brown's at 61. Rooks is at 70%, but he's hit all 4 tonight. The Hadleys don't want to foul, they want to stop. Backcourt for Budimir. Tuttle. And they get a foul on Mickens. And 2 shots for Tuttle. Javelina so desperately needed a stop right there. Crowd trying to make some noise. And Tuttle, again, barely notices as he hits the free throw. I don't know how they call Mickens for a foul there. There's mutual contact between both players. And Tuttle, 2 free throws, it's a 6-point game. I'd be shocked if the Hogs didn't shoot a 3 right here. Thomas inside does draw the foul to shoot 2.
Deontay, Rodney, shrink the floor.
Now the bad news for the Hogs, though, even though Chauncey Thomas will shoot 2, is obviously they have to foul Commerce now, or if they don't get steals. That's the 5th on Rodney Brown.
24, Rodney Brown. That's his 5th personal foul.
And Clarence Evans making his first appearance tonight, replacing Brown.
Serge, take it out! Take it out!
Chauncey Thomas, his second made free throw of the evening.
Deontay, rebound! Rebound!
Coach Von Rosenberg asking his team to rebound. And they do the job. Budimir gets the pass off to Tuttle. Hogs have to foul. They do, and Tuttle will shoot 2.
Come here, block!
But that's probably the ball game for the Javelinas.
Lions shooting 2 shots.
Lions have simply made more plays in crunch time. They've won more loose balls, made fewer mistakes. The critical moments of this game, when the Javelinas were trying to take it over, the Lions always had an answer. And Tuttle again with 2 more free throws.
23. Strike it!
Thomas for Mouton. The 3-pointer is good. That makes it a 4-point game at 29.1. Mouton with 11 points. That's a full timeout for the Javelinas. Shot clock, of course, is turned off. .1 left in this game. The Javelinas up next for them on Saturday. They will host Tarleton at 4 p.m. And that game, we'll have that again all here for you via JavelinaAthletics.com and YouTube Live. After that, they'll head on the road. They'll play A&M International. And a game that is set for Wednesday in Laredo at 7:30 p.m. Javelinas really thought this would be a very different game from the game they played in Commerce when they turned the ball over a lot. The free throw disparity was enormous. And when they felt like they were a different team than the team that they've played it like as of late. And there certainly has been a very different game. But the Lions, again, have still been the team that have made the critical plays. Budimir. Inbounded pass off of the Javelinas. And that doesn't do anything other than make Commerce inbound it again from the near side.
Stack up! Hurry!
Official timeout for.
And the officials will take a moment. I wonder if they're going to look at the replay on this. And unfortunately, we can't see it because the score bug was still up during the play. but the officials will have a full view of it. Over to our left. Certainly Darius Mickens was convinced that it was out off of Commerce, but sometimes they say you want something so bad you convince yourself it's true regardless of what might have actually happened. And if the Javelinas get possession of this ball, that could be exactly the kind of thing they need. But we'll get the call. And they're going to keep it in the hands of Commerce. Mickens still convinced he never touched the ball. Now the Lions will toss it in.
Hey! Back him off the line! Cross!
And the officials moving Jamel Bradley back a little. Budimir will inbound it. Pass to Tuttle. Javelinas need to, oh no, they get it across half court to Budimir, and Budimir is fouled. And he's not a guy you want at the free throw line. 80% foul shooter with 23.6 to play. Two shots for Budimir. Alex Mills comes in. That was Mouton's 5th foul. And a nice round of applause for John Mouton. And Budimir with a big miss on the first one. Four-point game at 23.6. And he missed them both. What do I know saying he's an 80% foul shooter? Thomas in the corner for Rashawn Thomas. Back to Chauncey Thomas. Hogs can't waste too much time. Mickens. Bradley to the rack for the bucket. Can't get the bucket. Does draw the foul.
Hey! Box out! 3 across! Count right there.
Fourth personal foul. And the free throw line shooting two.
Surge!
And here's Jamel Bradley.
Surge! Surge! You got it out!
Cool as a cucumber hits the first one.
Box!
Bradley trying to get the Hogs within 2. And Jamel Bradley does his job. We have a 2-point game. Budimir to Tuttle. Tuttle's fouled by Thomas. And in a weird way, maybe Tuttle's the guy you want at the line. He came into the night 69% free throw shooter, but he's 4 of 4. So if you want to think optimistically from a Javelina standpoint, you'd say he's due to miss one. Javelinas only need him to miss one. And Tuttle certainly not willing to oblige on the first one. Second and 2 for Carson Tuttle. And we got a 3-point game to move. A chance to tie. Mickens. Thomas. Not even close. And now all the Lions have to do is toss it in with 0.2 of a second to play. And they're going to put 0.6 on the clock, but it really doesn't matter. Terrell, all he needs to do is basically just throw it to anyone, And that's the ball game. So the Lions hold on for the 3-point win, 80-77 at home to Mook. 6-game win streak is broken. The Lions hold on to win without Reggie Reed down the stretch. They move to 8-2 in the conference. They're 16-4 overall. The Javelina is 10-7. Fall to 10-8. They're 6-4 in the LSE. We'll take a quick break and come back and wrap things up. And we'll set everything up for Saturday against Tarleton here at the Spec. Don't go away.